And hello again, everyone, and welcome to Art Fennell Reports. I'm Art Fennell. In 1963, a group of prominent African-American business leaders from all walks of life gathered in New York City on a mission. It was a who's who of dignitaries, ranging from baseball great Jackie Robinson to David Dinkins, the former mayor of New York, to Andrew Hatcher, the associate press secretary to President John F. Kennedy. This group explored ways of improving conditions in their community. The idea that they came up with was a good one: to create an organization designed to improve the quality of life for African Americans and people of color. Well, 50 years later, that dream is a reality. They are 100 strong. 100 Black Men of America Incorporated has been fostering and mentoring America's black youth and leading the way in our communities ever since. Take a look at the clip.
Nearly 5 decades, our impact has changed negative news headlines into positive examples of our commitment to community.
Once the 100 Black Men had entered into my life, showing me love and care, and I developed a new outlook on life.
The warm, home-like feeling that the 100 Black Men gives me. They have also helped me in areas of my life which wouldn't have been improved in an ordinary classroom.
You planted the seed, the words to which I took heed, filling this hungry mind's need, and while we share not the same last name, you were a father indeed.
While most organizations document success based on the number of supporters and dollars raised, the 100's work is documented directly out of the mouths of our mentees.
I was born by the river, hey, in a little tent.
We have no idea what that impact is going to be on the life of a young person until they tell us their own testimonial. And we had several young people who said that but for the 100 Black Men, they don't think they would have made it. They would not even have been alive.
But I know a change gonna come.
Just a clip from the work that they do. Joining me in observance of Black History Month and to tell us more about 100 Black Men are 3 members of the Philadelphia chapter. They are Weller Thomas, publisher of Pathfinders Travel Magazine. Weller has more than 25 years of business experience, including management, marketing, sales, and publishing. Also here, Dr. Moses Williams, an innovative educator and distinguished administrator, the executive director of the nonprofit Distance Learning Center. And Fred Whiten is here, the president of the Philadelphia chapter of 100 Black Men and chair of the mentoring committee, as well as serves on the Pennsylvania Crime Commission and Delinquency Subcommittee. Gentlemen, thank you for being on the program. And let me just begin with a simple courtesy, and that is to say thank you for the work that you're doing to help America's youth, because it's important work. And we want to talk about the mission and the goals of 100 Black Men and what you've been able to do, what you're still doing, and all of that. But let's begin at the beginning. We just talked a little bit about the history and how the organization was founded all those years ago. Some might say, man, 50 years ago, that's a long time. Is it still pertinent today? Maybe even more so? Can you start me off?
Well, actually, it is very pertinent today. It's really easy to describe because of the state of our city and the state of our country. So we feel that it's very important that we commit ourselves to helping these young people recognize their talents and putting them in places where they just dream about.
Sure. And so you've rallied the forces, men who've come together. And again, this is the Philadelphia chapter. There are chapters all over the country. How far and wide is the organization of 100 Black Men?
Well, I still consider myself a newbie, but we're across the country and even have chapters in Ghana, London, Dominican Republic, and we're still growing. So we're really an international organization.
Yeah. Moses, you know, we talk a lot about the education components for what has to go in this, but some would say the basic education that has to happen here is providing strong examples to help these youth, because there are issues out there in the community that we all know about, and we know these issues well. There are issues of crime. There are issues of a lack of mentees. There are too many fatherless homes. in our communities. And so the work that is taking place tries to address all of those things, does it not?
Absolutely. The 100 Black Men is determined to change the community into a positive situation where young people are mentored and told about what they can do and be in the future. As a result, we have a number of programs that try to address what the president in the future needs to be.
And let's talk about those programs. And I know that there are some core points that the 100 Black Men strive to. Tell me about those.
Well, actually, under the umbrella of 100 Black Men here in Philly and around the country, there are 4 pillars. One is called education, another is health and wellness, another one, of course, is mentoring, and the last one is economic development.
Which is a big one.
Well, that's a big one.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And the reason why economic development is so important is because we want to be able to show young people how to operate on their own, how to start their own businesses, how to be successful in the marketplace, and not depend on other resources to make them successful.
Okay, now that sounds great. Let me just try to point something out here, and you guys, I'm sure, deal with this all the time. I want you to straighten me out on it. Those are lofty goals and ideals, but for a young person who in today's society may be more focused on, their texting on their iPhone and the latest new video games out there and all of these types of things. Is that a tough sell to try to grab one of them by the hand and say, I want to talk to you about economic development? How do you handle that?
You certainly try to reach out and say, you have a future, and you need to start as a young man or woman preparing for that future. And part of that preparation is education and training. Get ready to do what needs to be done so that you will have a job in the 21st century. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math are the highest paying jobs now and will be throughout the 21st century. So you need to try to prepare to obtain one of those jobs.
And let me just stay with you for a minute. Again, that makes perfect sense to me and to probably a lot of older people. But is it tough sometimes trying to get the young people to grab onto that?
Well, let me just interject something, Arthur. We have a motto that they will be what they see. And we believe, and it's been proven, that when you engage these young people and you show them an alternative, maybe they do think that it's impossible or it's not a lofty goal to want to grow up and own your own business. But having folks like ourselves, educators, business people that devote their time, and we don't mean going in the community and bringing them out maybe into the suburbs, but we go into the inner city where these kids live and breathe, and they're actually seeing grown men who are not on the corners dealing drugs, who are not being disrespectful. We teach them etiquette. We teach them how to look someone in the eye, shake their hand, and give the right signals that they will be able to have respect for themselves and respect for others. So it may sound very basic, but that's where where the rubber meets the road.
Sure. You wanted to add something?
I think that in any relationship, and all of us know this, that in any relationship, trust is a key. And so one of the things that we have to do is to be able to make sure that these young people know that we're for real. And what I mean by that is they need to know that we're not going to be here for one day and disappear, that we're going to be here for the duration. And so as we pledge ourselves to stick with them and to call them and they call us and develop a relationship with them, they start to feel more comfortable with us and they start to open up. Once they open up, then we can teach them very easily.
And that's not it's not something that happens right away, is it? I mean, that probably takes some time to build that trust. Where are they coming from? Where do most of the mentees come from? Are they from all walks of life? Are they from more prominent families? Or are they from poverty-stricken families?
One of the things that we have found is that the common denominator that pervades in all families is growing up in this society and needing guidance into adulthood. And so whether you come from a prominent family or a low-income family, you still have that need to seek out what does it take to be a man? What does it take to be an adult? And so when we start to look at it like that and we spray the community with our mission, we have people coming from low-income families like wherever, and we have people coming from the main line with the same problem. Please help save my son.
Mm-hmm. And who are the 100 black men? Specifically, where are they coming from? Are they blue-collar workers? Are they all executives like yourselves? Or, you know, are they unemployed? Can they be unemployed but just have a core need to want to help? Tell me about how do you become a 100 black man?
Well, we feel that we have an application process, and we open our doors to all men. When men come into our organization and want to find out more about it, we tell them what they're getting into. And one of the things that we stress is that this is not an overnight activity. You have to make a commitment. Of course, we have to do criminal history and background checks and go through the formality of those procedures. But the real deal is for them to say, regardless of where I am in life, whether I'm unemployed, blue-collar worker, executive, I want to give back. I want to make a commitment to help other people because I know what life was like for me. And now that I'm here, I want to be able to help other folks.
How is your work, your mission, different from, say, for example, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, which is also a mentoring program, also doing the same types of things? Are there differences? And if so, anyone can speak to that. But what do you see?
Big Brothers and Big Sisters, I'm a big brother. And as a big brother, I remember my young man going to college, and I'm so proud of him. I have eye problems when I think about how successful he is.
Yeah.
Okay, but what happened in that relationship was I had him for a certain period of time. It was a one-on-one relationship, and eventually he became successful and went away. Here in 100 Black Men, it's magnified, it's widespread, and it's almost like a fraternity. Mm-hmm. Because the adults network and lean on each other, and indeed we become friends. And as we become friends, we share common bonds and resources, and those resources help develop the young person that all of us are responsible for.
And I'd like to add this also. It's a group dynamic. You know, we're not just working with one or two kids. These kids are learning from us, but they're also learning how to work with each other and how to respect each other. So, you know, uncommon, well, it is kind of common today. We pick up the papers and we hear about violence in the schools and, you know, all these attitudes and issues. But when we come together as a group, we don't have that. They look forward to seeing each other, and they're learning from each other, from our chess program to some of the programs where we're doing basic things like teaching them how to tie a necktie. You'd be surprised, something that basic, how excited they get. Because so this is what grown men do. So they come in and they learn these things.
Yeah, you talk about groups. Do you have the numbers? What are the numbers, say, in Philadelphia? For example, do you know how many members of our youth community that you have in your net, and maybe even nationally?
Right now, locally, we have about 100 young people in the various programs that we have.
Fantastic.
And we're always looking for more. There's more room on the boat for them to get on. Mm-hmm. Okay. Absolutely. We also need more men to step up and to help us, because you know the rule, 80% do, I can't remember what it is, 20% do the work, but we need to increase those numbers. And I think that as we get more men dedicated, we start to help more young people.
And obviously, if you talk about all the chapters all over the country and internationally, as you mentioned, Weller, then if you've got 100 here in Philadelphia, you're talking about thousands of youth in America who are being impacted by the work that you do. I want you to hold on for a minute. We'll come back. I want to talk about some of the programming, some of the goals, some of the missions, some of the work that you still hope to do, and what your challenges are, so we can address that as well. So hold on for me. We're talking to the 100 Black Men of America, the organization and members of the Philadelphia chapter, and the good work they're doing mentoring America's youth. You're watching Art Fennell Reports. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to Art Fennell Reports. I'm Art Fennell. We're talking with the members of the 100 Black Men organization, a national and international organization doing great work around our country. And we have members here from the Philadelphia chapter. Weller Thomas is here, publisher of Pathfinder's Travel Magazine, more than 25 years business experience, management, marketing, sales, and publishing. Dr. Moses Williams is here, an innovative educator and distinguished administrator, executive director of the nonprofit Distance Learning Center. And finally, Fred Whiten is here, president of the Philadelphia chapter and the chair of the mentoring committee, as well as serving on the Pennsylvania Crime Commission and Delinquency Subcommittee. Gentlemen, thanks again. I know that you're all doing so many things all around the country, and specifically here at home. A lot of people who may be thinking, I'd like to become a part of this, but I just don't have the time. How do you address that? How do you lure more men into your ranks?
Actually, the people that say they don't have time are the people that we're looking for. Okay? Because I tell you, Art, if you're real busy and you join our organization, I know I can depend on you to get a task done because you have so many other things on your plate. Right. So we want busy people to come in and be with us. Yeah. Because all of us are very busy. Yeah. Right.
I want to talk about some of the programs that you're doing. I know you have a great many, but just talk to me a little bit about some of the programs that you're involved in that you're seeing make a real difference in our youth. You had mentioned earlier STEM, science and technology, and
engineering and math.
Engineering and math, yeah.
At the national level, under the umbrella of the 100 Black Men, we have a program called the STEM Prep Project, and it is designed to find young people in different cities in the country who are interested in a career in science, technology, engineering, and math. We look for them in 7th grade. We assemble 40 to 50 of these young people, bring them to Dallas, Texas, and start them in the STEM pipeline. They spend 6 weeks at Southern Methodist University in Dallas in 7th grade summer. They return to Dallas in 8th grade summer for another 6 weeks, and then in 9th and 10th grade they're here in Philadelphia. They live at the University of Pennsylvania and they work at the 4 medical schools here in Philadelphia. 11th grade we send them to Maryland to the National Institutes of Health, and in 12th grade they're out to Seattle.
Right, just what you said earlier, that right there is a commitment from 7th grade through 12th grade.
Through the senior year of college.
Through the senior year of college.
Every summer, 10-year program at the national level, and the largest contingent of participants are from Philadelphia.
How about that?
Yes.
Which speaks to the work you guys are doing. Right. What other programs? What else do you do?
Well, we also have what we call Indoor Economic Development Area. We have a Minority Entrepreneur Apprenticeship Program. And that's a fancy way for us to say we want to help you start your own business in real estate. Now, this program is not just conceptual. We want you to be on the job. And so one of our members is a developer. And what we've decided to do is we've decided to take these young people from the classroom to the work site. So if you travel up and down Broad Street, you'll see that the buildings between Clearfield and Allegheny on the east side of Broad Street are being torn down because they're making way for new modular dormitories that'll be built. Right behind Broad Street is Park Avenue, and there's a variety of vacant houses. We want to buy those houses, turn them into greenhouses to make them economically sound. And we want to lottery those houses off to the community. We also have a project in South Philadelphia around Broad and Fitzwater, where we're going to be building houses at Broad and Fitzwater. These young people will come out of the classroom while they learn the theory and actually go on site to see what happens on site. Now, Art, we're not talking about nailing sheetrock and hauling trash. We're talking about reading blueprints, and we're talking about developing business plans. Those things are real for these young people.
And again, what kind of age range are we talking about for, say, for example, a program like that?
For this particular program, we focus on the high school students.
Sure.
We'd like for them to be in the 9th grade, obviously, so we could have them for a longer period of time. But if you're in the 10th grade or the 11th grade, we'd like for you to come in also. The program meets twice a month on Saturdays, and we feed you breakfast. That's kind of important too.
Sure, we'll feed them.
Yeah, we have to feed them breakfast.
Important in the mentoring process. Yeah. What have you seen These programs are out there. They sound fantastic. The organization has been out there for a long time. We know what you're doing. But what have you seen in terms of success and making a difference? Do you have a great long list of students who've come up under the tutelage and are now shining examples in our community? What have you seen, to any of you?
Well, I'll just speak to what I've seen in the short time that I've been involved, which has really been 1 year. I'm seeing a difference in the attitudes. Young boys, when you walk in a room, who may not even be able to look you in the eye or wouldn't really understand that it's okay, you're safe here, but to be able to exchange, give you that handshake, and now to articulate their name, to say, hello, Mr. Thomas, hello, Mr. Whiteman, or Mr. Williams, and then be able to take them, and now we have these kids in a chess program where we meet every other Saturday. As Fred said, we feed them. But, you know, we teach them about nutrition. You know, when you're in school, you don't want to stop at the corner store on your way to school with sodas and, you know, Twinkies on the way. So we teach them about what to put in your body to prepare yourself for the day. But what we're seeing through the chess program, just as an example, kids are learning to think because they have to slow down and study that board, not only for one move, but the 3 and 4 moves down the line.
Sure.
So we're seeing better report cards. We're seeing kids now that can compose themselves. You know, all of this stuff that's going on in the schools about kids with attention deficit disorder. We're not seeing that. What we're seeing is a change. And I believe as we continue to engage with these kids, we can elevate them into additional programs like you're talking about with the MEET program. And I'm most excited about the STEM program because these kids, they are bright. They just need to be nurtured. We've got diamonds in our community.
What about the home structure and what you see locally here in Philadelphia? Are there a lot of fathers in the homes of these kids?
Well, Art, I got to tell you, it's a mixture. But I have to tell you, far and wide, many of the boys sadly come from homes where the father is absent. Mm-hmm. And so these guys are looking for father figures. And we have studied this, and we have found that much of the education that young people have comes from nonverbal communication. So they look at us, they see how we walk, how we talk, how we interact with each other, how we have respect for each other, and they start to emulate those behaviors among themselves. One of the things that we have taught them is the difference between a reaction and a response. So when they get into a situation where they can react negatively, but hold back just a little bit and think this thing through, then they have a different response. And for young people in the community, we're talking about a life and death situation. Life and death over nothing. So I see those kinds of goals being met. I see those kind of goals being met.
Looking forward, what else would you like to see? I know that there's a national body, and the national body usually sets a national agenda, and then the local chapters will follow that agenda and implement goals, projects of their own. In terms of outreach and other types of things, what do you hope to get done that you're not doing now?
Well, all of us are professionals in our own right, and we all have our own individual attractions. I personally would like to see more young people swell this chapter. That's really my desire. I'd also like to see more men step up and say, I want to help in this regard. If I get more young people, because we have the resources, we have scholarships, we have mentors, we have a mentoring program that every mentor has to go through to be approved through the 100 way to be a mentor. So all of this is very structured. It's almost like giving a party and you want more people to come to your party.
Sure,
right.
Okay?
Sure. There's nothing wrong with having a good party.
Right, exactly.
We're almost out of time here, but are you optimistic?
Very
even now?
Very optimistic.
Oh, we're very, very optimistic. We're optimistic because of us being on this show, number one, because more people will see us and say, I'd like to get involved in it. And I would like to invite the community to call us, to call us and get involved.
And we've been putting the website up so that they can go and find out more about what you're doing, take a look-see, find out more about the 100 Black Men. Can white men come on board?
Absolutely.
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 Well, we should put that out there because
Yeah,
they may not know.
Latinos,
There you
Asians.
go.
As you know,
we're out of time. I want to thank you all for being here. Good luck to you in the future. You know we're all pulling for you.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best. See you next time on The Report.